to Her Life Unscripted podcast, inspiring burnt out, stressed out, and stretched thin women to embrace the unscriptedness of life. Hosted by Anna Osborne.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Her Life Unscripted podcast, episode 26. It is so great to be here with all of you today. I am coming off an amazing weekend. This is going to sound totally crazy, or hopefully it's going to sound very relatable to a number of you. So it is October right now. It's mid-October. And we spent the entire weekend, my family of four, literally at the house doing nothing. No plans, no meeting up with friends, nothing. I mean, we worked on some house projects. We went to church on Sunday. We went out for ice cream Saturday night. Like, we did things together, but we had no other obligations. And the thing that makes this crazy is that I sat there thinking, oh my gosh, I don't remember the last time that we had an entire weekend free of being able to do whatever we wanted without any sort of, commitment or social engagement or whatever the case may be. So it felt so foreign and so amazing that I started kind of doing the math in my head, and I calculated back to last February, people, February. That is 8 months of not having a single weekend with nothing in it. And that sounds absolutely terrifying to me, but it was crazy because I thought about it. Okay, so the kids started T-ball the first weekend of March, and that only went for like 6 or 7 weeks. But my husband plays baseball in a men's league every Sunday from April to September. So pretty much from when their T-ball started to his baseball starting, we have had a thing to do every single weekend. And I like to be able to spend time with our friends and other families and things like that. Obviously, holiday weekends, we usually do barbecues and all that good stuff. So it made sense that we have had something to do every single weekend. But it was so crazy to me that literally 8 months had gone by without the exception, obviously, of a holiday weekend where we might have been a little bit more chill, that we didn't have anything to do. And it was such a great feeling that it made me crave it more and more. It was like, oh my gosh, this awakening happening where I realized I need more of that in my life. Not only for me, but for my family. It was so nice just to be together and kind of just putter around the house. And, we got some projects done, some we started that are going to take more time. I think I shared with all of you guys that we refloored our house this summer, and that has turned into a huge project. Although the majority of that is done, we now have, obviously, as many home improvement projects go, we have unearthed more stuff to do by just starting to redo the floors. So we're hosting Thanksgiving this year with all of my big extended family, and so the timeline we have to at least get most of the stuff done is Thanksgiving. So we still have about a month and a half, actually a little less than that, to get the main stuff done. And I'm sure it will be. And if not, my family will just roll with it. But it was really, really powerful this weekend to be able to slow down enough to realize we need to do more of this. And also, it helped me identify some things in my life that I'm saying yes to that I actually can start saying no to. And it kind of hit me Sunday morning, actually, when we were at church, of like a ton of bricks of going, oh my gosh, there are some things that I'm doing right now because they seem like they make the most sense, but I actually don't need to do those anymore. And one of them is being able to hand over all the editing, the show notes, all those nitty-gritty things with this podcast that take up so much time and prevent me from connecting with all of you guys in a much more meaningful way. I love the podcast and I love this extension of myself to you and you guys sharing with me. But I also realized that once I launched the episode, I don't get to connect with all of you as much as I want to. And so really being able to build a relationship with you guys through the Facebook page and through Twitter and just, through email and SpeakPipe. So I kind of handed that over, and I've got on my to-do list today, setting up a meeting with an editing company who is going to take over all of that for me. And so the expense of doing that feels like it far outweighs the benefit. And so I have found a way to work it into the budget so that I can pay for all that and just kind of take back some time with my family and gain more time with you guys. So that was a really beautiful piece of clarity that I don't think would have come out if we hadn't had this very still weekend. So anyways, it was really cool to be able to do that. And I kind of shared that with my husband. my plan. And he was really excited to kind of figure out how I would problem solve that. And I think I know he is so supportive of what I do, and he's always encouraging. But sometimes when I get rolling with things and putting too much on my plate, I think he is unsure of how to bring that up to me without sounding like he is criticizing what I'm doing. So I'm appreciative that he doesn't say anything, but it feels really good that when I bring it up to him, he kind of has this sense of relief on his face, like, yes, let's find some different ways to do things in order to free up some more time and just really create more connection, not only within my family and friends, but also with you guys, because your voices really matter to me. And it's just been an amazing journey these past 4 or 5 months, being able to really create this podcast and hopefully, continue taking it to the next level. So that's really what I experienced this weekend. And, I attended the Together tour, Glennon Doyle Melton and 3 other just amazing women 2 weeks ago. And as promised, I wanted to do an episode on kind of what my takeaways were from that and what really stood out to me and just the amazingness of it all. And of course, I lost all my notes that I took during the workshop or during the convention. And I'm so bummed because I had written down so many amazing things that I had taken away. And for the life of me, I cannot find them. I've scoured my desk. I haven't scoured home as much as I probably could have, but who knows what pile it's under. So I'm just going to speak from the heart and fly with the things that, even though I went on that trip a week and a half ago, is still staying with me and really what I'm going to do with it. So here goes, ladies. We're talking about rebuilding and rebuilding together today. The tour that I went on with Glennon, or I went on like I was part of the tour in my dreams, right? But the tour that I attended, the Together tour that Glennon Doyle Melton was one of the headliners for, was this amazing experience of women sitting down together in this very intimate fashion. It was held in the super cool old theater in Hollywood with just amazing carvings into the ceilings. And you could just imagine that it was a place where movies were shown and just amazing things have happened over the decades that it's been around. And it was a very big theater that it took place in, but it was very intimate, that the way that we all kind of came together. And we listened to these 4 women that are just powerhouses in terms of spirituality and mindfulness and activism, and just so amazing in how they all came together. And they really told their stories about why they are who they are and how that relates to their passion for activism and really creating change in a social way, in a spiritual way, in an emotional way. And the theme of the tour, or the name of the tour, was the Together Tour. And I really was thinking about this topic of togetherness. And I know that Mari Lee and I, last week with the episode that went out, was this amazing episode because we really spoke about women and how women can be each other's allies and not their enemies. And afterwards, Mari and I were kind of messaging back and forth when the episode went live last week. And we were talking about this retreat that we're working to collaborate on for 2017. And I shared with her that it just feels like my soul, me, I am screaming out for rebuilding. And I speak about that from a very personal place because there's parts of me that through this current political time and social time that feels very, very wounded as a mom, as a wife, as a woman. There's parts of me that have felt very, very wounded and injured. And also from a professional place, I know that in the work that I do in my office with couples and individuals, that so many of them, both men and women alike, are screaming out for a rebuilding because it feels like the past year, but especially the past few months, that our political climate has been one that has been so hateful and judgmental and critical, and it's been putting people into boxes and telling those people whether or not they are deserving of love and respect and compassion. And that for me has been extremely wounding. And I'm seeing it happen in my office too. People are coming in, couples and men and women, and they're talking about just feeling so disconnected from each other. Like they have to fit into this box that we as society and politically have been shoving people into. And that by being defined by that category or that box has been terrifying for them. It's been limiting to them, and it's also been very, very wounding. And so thinking about this Together tour and also this feeling of rebuilding that's just been kind of welling up inside me, it has me thinking of kind of what do we do with it, right? How do we use this idea of togetherness as a way to reach out and support one another? And I know that that sounds kind of crazy because obviously the word together means connected, right? But I feel like when we sat in that room 2 weeks ago, all of us that attended this tour, the Together tour, at first it was uncomfortable because here we are all as women coming together and holding a space for each other's wounds. And the speakers were so intimate in the ways that they talked about how life has happened to them and how it's defined them through loss and injury and betrayal. But at first it was so vulnerable that it actually felt a little awkward, right? Like I don't know who you are, and yet I'm holding an intimate space with you. And so although we talk about together as something that's very connective, that when we start to do that initially, it can feel uncomfortable because we don't necessarily know how to be present for each other when we have been so removed by these categories that socially we have been, shoved into. And so at first, as we sat down together in this gorgeous theater in Hollywood, I felt kind of a little bit exposed, right? Here I was as this believer and holder of what all these women had to say, and yet I felt a little exposed because I didn't know how it connected for the person sitting next to me. And then as the women started talking, this amazing energy kind of transcended onto us. And I even get chills right now as I speak about it, but this amazing energy happened where like our heads started nodding, going, oh yeah, that's happening for me too, or I remember a time that I felt that feeling. Maybe I didn't have the same experience as you, but I felt that feeling, and that feeling made me feel scared, or that feeling made me feel empty. And I can connect with you there because I've had that feeling too. And then as we started kind of nodding heads, we started looking around and realizing that we're all nodding heads, right? And then the tears came up because it was thinking, wow, all of us are sitting here in this room together, having the same emotion, the same empathy for each other around these connected feelings. And initially we had felt far away from each other, and now we were starting to feel connected. And so when we talk about rebuilding, oftentimes I think we talk about rebuilding in a singular sense, like I am hurting, I need to soothe, I need to rebuild. But that is not what rebuilding is about. Rebuilding is about connecting. It is about reaching towards each other and being able to say, yes, I have that hurt too. You're not alone. And to me, that is an absolutely powerful thing to think that my pain can feel like your pain. It can be caused or triggered by different sources, but if we can connect around those injuries and those wounds, we can also start connecting around the healing, right? And saying, yes, my pain was your pain, and I've worked through some of it. And so let me give you my hope. Let me give you my light because I've worked through something that maybe you're still struggling with. And that's okay that you're still struggling with it. It's not my job to make that pain go away. And it's not my job to tell you how to fix it. It's my job to be present when you are rebuilding. And for me, that was such an amazing thing to not only know, because it's something that I've known for a while, but to feel it. And feel it at a deeper level than I think I've acknowledged in a long time. And being able to be with a group of strangers who essentially after 4 hours together, we all left with a bond because we had held witness to each other's pain, and not necessarily in telling our own stories, but in hearing other people tell their stories. These 4 amazing women that spoke on the tour, and being able to really hear their stories and hear their pain and connect with them, we all left with almost this thread that now connects all of us, each one of us, right? And that thread is something that we get to use as a powerful way to remain connected, although we all have very different missions and very different paths through which we are doing the rebuilding. And so that to me was just absolutely, it was healing. It was really healing. And I think it speaks to what happened this weekend with my family of being able to really slow down together. It made me see things that I may be on autopilot doing, and really start looking at ways to make adjustments around that and ways that really benefit not only me personally, but also collectively within my family unit, my friend unit. So that to me was the biggest takeaways from the tour. One thing that I was able to, I actually took notes not only on my iPhone, but also on the pamphlet or the little brochure they gave out. And so the one note that was saved, because I can't find that pamphlet anywhere, was in my iPhone. And what I wrote down was this idea that the cure for the pain is actually inside the pain. And so that, I think, speaks to just exactly what I've been speaking about, right? That by being able to rebuild, it is talking about that we need to heal and cure this pain that is happening right now, especially collectively as women. There's so much wounding going on, and our social and political climate, I feel like, are adding to those injuries and adding to those wounds through judgment and shame and just all these blaming, just mean, cruel things that are happening. And that the cure for that pain is actually inside the pain. That when we move into the pain of that, right, that's where we connect with each other, because that pain is universal. Not the experience of how that pain came about, but the pain is universal because our feelings are universal. And so in order to cure that pain, in order to create this rebuilding, we actually have to move inside the pain. And that is what we need each other for. Right? That's the togetherness. That if we aren't there for each other as we're moving inside the pain, the fear of, will I get lost in it? Will it be too big? Will it be overwhelming? Starts to become very, very real. And so that, my friends, is the power of being able to come together and rebuild, is it allows us to move into the pain where the cure actually is by being brave together. And I feel like that then becomes the antidote to being able to heal what is happening around us and within us. And so those really are, that's what I got from this tour. And like I said, I'm so just overwhelmed by how powerful it was, because it's something that, even losing my notes 2 weeks later, I'm still having these thoughts and these recollections that are really pulling into my day-to-day life. So that really is a powerful piece of the tour. And I so look forward to being able to continue to connect with all of you, because that is how we cure our pain, right? It's moving into it and allowing each other to really hold witness to that. Over the weekend, I actually watched a movie too. For those of you that know me, excuse me, I'm not a big movie watcher. And that's probably simply because I don't slow down usually enough to watch a movie. But anyways, my husband and I watched this movie together. It was called Joy. It was with Jennifer Lawrence, and it was just beautiful. It was kind of like Erin Brockovich in a very entrepreneurial way. It was about a single mom struggling and using her creativity to create an invention, the mop, this amazing miracle mop, and then selling it. And so it was a true story. But one of the things that was so, really stuck out to me during this movie is that there is a dream that the adult Jennifer Lawrence character, Joy, has. And in the dream, her younger version comes to her, right? The younger version of ourselves, that very innocent, naive, but so insightful version of herself, right? And so this isn't giving too much of the movie away, but it's the younger version of Joy comes to adult Joy and says, when you're hidden, you're safe because people can't see you. But the funny thing about hiding, you're even hidden from yourself. And that quote, I made my husband pause the movie so I can kind of go back and write it down, because it just struck me in such a profound way that when we are trying to be safe, when we are hiding away because we are too scared of the pain, right? We don't realize that the cure for the pain is inside the pain. That, we're hiding and people can't see us, and that might feel okay. But the problem is when we hide is that we end up hiding from ourselves. We don't let our true selves come out. And we can't connect or rebuild if we're not honoring our true selves. If we're only giving half-truths or partial versions of ourselves out into the world, then we lose this opportunity to really connect and really rebuild in a profound fashion. And so, when you're hiding, you're safe because people can't see you, right? They can't criticize, they can't judge, they can't shame. But the problem is that then we risk hiding from ourselves too. And that is one of the most dangerous things we can do, because we all have these profound gifts that we have the ability to offer to one another. And that when we hide them away, or we only give parts of them or honor parts of them, the world loses out. Like, I lose out because I only get to know a part of you. You lose out because you only get to know a part of me. Our families lose out, our kids, our parents, our siblings, our friends. Everybody loses out because they only get parts of us rather than who we truly are. And so that is it, right? Like, that's the juice, that's the power in being able to use our togetherness, this thread that we all hold as women, as a way to connect us, as a way to heal us, as a way to rebuild us, and as a way to make us brave enough that we don't have to hide anymore to feel safe, but that we actually are able to honor and own who we are. And that is actually what allows us to be seen by ourselves and by each other. Pretty powerful from where I'm sitting, because it's something that's just been swirling all around me these past few weeks. I'm just so excited to share these ideas with you. And I really want to hear your ideas on all this too, right? What does it mean to rebuild? What does it mean to come together? How do you identify that thread that connects all of us as women? And what about this idea of realizing that the cure for the pain is actually in the pain? And that when we're hiding to keep ourselves safe, we're not only hiding away so others can't see us, we're actually hiding from ourselves. And that's a really terrifying thing. I want to hear what you have to say. Please send in your feedback via the SpeakPipe app, or go ahead and send me over an email to Anna@HerLifeUnscripted. I'm just overjoyed to be able to have this time to slow down with all of you, and also to feel like I've got a plan to be able to hand off some of the tech stuff of this podcast and use that time as a way to greater connect with you and the other people in my life. So I just appreciate you letting me come into your worlds today and into your hearts, and just honor the time that we've spent. And I do really encourage you all to head over to Her Life Unscripted, to the retreat page, and sign up for that email list, because there are some amazing things happening in 2017, and I'm excited to be able to share them with all of you and really, find this as a way to connect with one another and be able to honor that thread that connects all of us. So thank you so much. Have just a beautiful day today, and hold this space within your heart, this idea of rebuilding, and see what happens for you as you hold that space. Do you find more connection or more togetherness within each other, and how does that look? So please send in, and I cannot wait to hear from all of you. Take care, ladies. Thank you.
Want to learn about the latest retreats, workshops, and speaking events hosted by Anna? Head over to herlifeunscripted.com to get in on all the juicy details. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review the podcast so we can continue to grow our amazing audience. Lastly, be sure and send in your voice feedback via the SpeakPipe app, or to Anna@herlifeunscripted.com. We can't wait to hear from you.